To make a solar powered LED or a SoLED, you'll need a small IR flashlight. Actually, you can use the sun, so you don't really need this, but this will be helpful if you want to light it up inside in low lighting conditions. This is powered by a single AA battery, and then you'll need the solar cell, which can be purchased from a number of places. This one I got from DigiKey. You can see the details about it there. And I like to use these straw hat LEDs that are available inexpensively from Amazon, and then it's helpful to have a vial to put it in when you're done and a little bit of heat shrink tubing, or you could even use extra pieces of insulation from wire to help make sure that some things are not connected when they shouldn't be, and soldering to connect the things that should be connected. The first step is just getting a little piece of heat shrink tubing, and you can use scissors for this. You don't need to use cutters like I'm using here. Either one will work. You just need a little short piece, probably about a centimeter or a little bit less. Actually make two of these because you'll need one on each side of the cell. And then you're going to take them and you're going to put one on one of the LEDs on the long lead and one on one of the LEDs on the short lead. So should look like that. And then what you'll do is you'll take the solar cell. You'll see that it is marked with a minus. So you want to take the negative terminal of the LED, which is observable by the side that has flatness on the package here, and that is the one that you want to make the connection to. So right now I'm positioning it so that the positive terminal of the LED is actually insulated from the negative terminal of the solar cell with this piece of heat shrink. If you have a heat gun, you can shrink it, but it's actually not strictly necessary, just as long as you make sure that it is not making a conductive contact with that terminal. And then to keep this in place while you solder it, you can use a clothespin or perhaps an alligator clip or something else you might have on hand that will just keep it in place as you're soldering it. And then the soldering is actually pretty straightforward. Even someone who's not especially good at soldering should have no trouble with this. You can even just melt a little bit of solder on the tip of your soldering iron, get like a little drop on there, and then just apply it to where the LED terminal is touching that negative side of the solar cell. Get it a little bit hot so that they both join reasonably. And you do the same thing kind of on the positive side, except for this time we are covering up the negative terminal of the LED. You should position them so they kind of line up there. And again, you can use a clothespin or something similar to keep it in place as you actually do the soldering. All right, it's a pretty bad soldering job, but it actually probably will work. Once you're confident that those are in place, you can then use solder to connect the LED leads themselves. Again, this is something where you can just put a little bit on there for a bit, just make sure they're connected. You should see the solder flow along the leads a bit just to make sure they're connected. Make sure that you don't connect them between the top and bottom there. Those need to stay separate, of course, otherwise it would short out. And then should be done. So what we'll do is we'll test it here. We'll put the solar cell face up. We'll put the battery into the infrared flashlight with the positive terminal going in first. Then we'll turn it on and see if it works. It does. Look at that. So this particular infrared flashlight that I have actually has a variable focus. You can extend it a tiny bit and it will focus from a greater distance slightly, and you can use that to light up your SoLED from slightly farther away. Now, to keep it from getting damaged, you can stick it inside one of these little vials that are widely used in medicine. You'll notice the vials have a part that has gradations on it and then also a part where you can write on it. There is a position where you can put it where the solar cell will be showing through without either of those being in the way. But even if it is, it will still work, just might get like a little bit less energy. And there you have it. That's how you do it.